So I'm Frances Draper. I'm the Executive Director of the Boulder Economic Council, and the Boulder Economic Council is an arm of the Boulder Chamber. And we have a lot of business people that are representative of large companies, small companies that are very interested in what this 1 gigabyte pipe could do for Boulder and the innovation that comes out of here, taking us to the next level. So let me give you a couple of examples. Boulder is a center of high concentration. In fact, I've been told it's the highest in the country of software engineers per population. We are also, per some studies out of Arizona, one of the highest areas for patents per population. And we do a lot of inventions in photonics, nanotechnology, software applications, biotech, a whole range of things, but that utilize a lot of computing power. One of the things that happens in Boulder is as these companies get started, they have to create whole ERP systems for themselves. And an area that is developing rapidly within the country, but also specifically within Boulder, is how new applications for cloud computing and how you can access to that to run a new company virtually. We've talked about virtual companies for a long time, but now we're really getting to the age where you could do it. And if you want to do it on a large scale, you need a big pipe, essentially. The other things that are developing within Boulder that can use that kind of pipe is digital technology. We have a whole sector that's developing here, and RealD is one of the companies that has an office in LA, but it has its R&D in Boulder, and that's the company that gave us the 3D for Avatar. That takes a lot of pipe. So it's those kinds of things that will start emerging rapidly out of Boulder if we have access to that kind of technology. Oh, the business community is totally excited about this. So one of the things we did was we created a business survey. So what Google has out there right now is a nomination form. If you go into it, it says, tell me your organization, but then it immediately drops into what's your personal use. And in the long run, this is going to fundamentally change not only how individuals interact with the internet, and we, by the way, have a lot of people, probably 10 to 15% in Boulder, that work from their homes, and they work internationally and nationally. So that's going to really affect their business, but it will eventually move into that business sector itself. And what we did was we created a separate survey from the one that Google has put up, specifically to ask businesses, how is this going to be transformative to your business in the creation of new products, in the markets that you can apply them to, in the research that you can do? What's it going to do to your cost structure as a business, and how is it going to affect your ability to attract and retain employees? And across the board, they've given us very high rankings. Last time I looked at this survey, we had over 85 businesses responding, all giving it very high marks. It was going to be able to allow them to reach into totally new areas, to collaborate with employees, but also partners in a totally different way than they do today. And I don't think we even know what this thing is going to be. You put this baby out there and it's really going to generate incredible entrepreneurialism that this town just rocks and rolls with all the time. I don't think we have a clue yet what it's going to generate, but it's going to generate some amazing things. I just came from a meeting up at CU. It was all about technology transfer, and we were really looking at the biosciences, and CU has just put together something that's called CIMBY, the Colorado Institute for Molecular Biology, and the whole idea behind that is we get too much in our silos, and if they would bring the interdisciplinary departments of the university together to talk about new inventions in biotech, in medical, and new energy applications, and put that together with business or philosophy or how do humans interact with this kind of thing, they're going to suddenly realize, oh my God, we've got an incredible invention in here. It is going to be the same thing with this pipe. As people use it and cluster around it, how they can apply cloud computing to digital applications, to new bioscience technology, or individual delivery of medicines to based on your DNA, the power that's needed to move that kind of data around and collaborate with people around the country or internationally is going to be huge. Boulder is an incredibly unique environment to apply a pipe of this size. It brings so many different elements together, but mainly it is such a hotbed of invention and innovation that's demonstrated in the patents, the new company startups, the kinds of software that are being put out daily on the web by Boulder inventors. It's an unparalleled petri dish to test this in. And so I would really encourage this as being one of the locations that Google selects for this. Because of the level of invention that goes on in Boulder day in and day out, Boulder is the perfect petri dish for Google to prove out the value of this pipe. Okay, the reason this is an important opportunity for Boulder is Boulder has a long history of seizing just the right moment to make this the unique community it is, and I'll give you a couple of examples. Our forefathers had the brilliance to go to the state capitol in the 1870s and fight to get the University of Colorado put here while Canyon City fought for the prison. Had a huge impact on us going forward. In the 50s, the head of the chamber had the vision to go around town with a hat in hand and grab donations, essentially. And he bought a farm on the western side of town because he'd heard that the National Bureau of Standards was going to put a lab outside of DC, their first one. And he went to them and said, if you'll put it in Boulder, I have a farm I will give you to put that here. And that's how we got our first federal lab. Boulder now has 16 federal labs that bring huge economic input to the community, but also incredible creativity and some of the science that we're talking about that can utilize this pipe. So it's those kinds of things that have really spurred Boulder in the past. The fact that we have smart grid here and that we could lay this Google pipe on top of it is going to drive incredible amounts of innovation that we haven't even thought of. So when, nobody had even thought of when Apple was started and they were engineers originally at HP, they went to the head of HP and they said, we have this idea that everybody ought to have a personal computer and we think we've designed one. And the head people at HP said, why would people want a personal computer? And so they had to go out and start it on their own and get VC funding, and it was very hard because the heads of HP had said, why would anybody want a personal computer? I don't think we've even imagined the kinds of inventions that are going to come through this pipe, but it is going to materially establish Boulder as a center for creativity and innovation in the internet, but well beyond the internet, in bioscience and biotech and digital media and all kinds of things we don't even know what it is today.